But when it comes to sovereignty, sometimes less is definitely more. Hello, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the curious case of a sovereign state whose very name outgrew its exceedingly small borders. So, let's delve into the captivating narrative of how a principality grew beyond its physical confines to encompass a legacy that belied its modest geographic reality. So, the interesting thing here is that while the Liechtensteins didn't actually have a unified territory before, following the paths of their fellow German nobles, they basically bought their way into becoming princes by purchasing the rights to rule the mountain passes and trading posts along the Rhine River, which were economically valuable but politically insignificant. This gave them some leeway with their titles. By acquiring properties called Schellenberg and Vaduz, they gained control over strategically important mountain passes and trading posts along the Rhine. These areas, while small in size, were incredibly useful for trade and transportation. The rivers there were great for moving goods and people, so they were worth owning. The House of Liechtenstein wasn't just any run-of-the-mill noble family, though. They had deep pockets and big dreams. They wanted more than just land. They wanted real power, the kind that made a real difference in the political game. They wanted something that would get them noticed at the top table of the Holy Roman Empire. And that meant having a seat at the Imperial Diet, the body that advised the emperor on policy and legislation. But there was a catch. To get into this exclusive club, they needed to have an unbroken line of sovereignty, something the Liechtensteins did not have. At this point, they were still technically subordinate to other nobles, even though they were related to those nobles. They were still seen as lower on the rungs of the societal ladder. Enter Prince Johann Adam I von Liechtenstein. He was the man with the plan, the mastermind behind the creation of the principality. His strategy was simple, albeit extremely meticulous. Find some small, out-of-the-way territories that were free from feudal obligations and buy them. In 1699, he purchased the lordship of Schellenberg, a small mountainous territory on the eastern bank of the Rhine River. It wasn't much to rule over, but it was enough to start building his case for sovereignty. However, Johann Adam was not done yet. He continued searching for more land, and in 1712, he found it in the neighboring county of Vaduz. These two small territories were relatively unimportant. They were tucked away in a corner of the empire far from the major centers of power and wealth. Most importantly, though, they were free from feudal obligations. They were directly under the emperor's authority, which was exactly what Johann Adam was looking for. With two small but strategically significant territories in his pocket, John Adam approached the emperor with a proposal. He asked Charles VI to combine these two territories into a single sovereign state, a principality over which he and his heirs would reign. The emperor agreed, and in 1719, the Principality of Liechtenstein was born. It was an obscure backwater, distant from the cultural, economic, and political centers of Europe. However, this lack of prominence ironically became its saving grace. It allowed the principality to maintain its autonomy, shielded from the conflicts and intrigues that shaped the rest of the continent. Initially, the ruling dynasty spent more time in Vienna than in their new capital of Vaduz. They regarded the principality primarily as a political asset, a bargaining chip in the complex game of imperial politics rather than an actual place to live. Over time, though, the family grew to love their adopted home, establishing a court and making it the center of their lives. And so, the Principality of Liechtenstein, a tiny mountainous state sandwiched between bigger, more powerful neighbors, carved out its place in history. It serves as a reminder that in the intricate game of geopolitics, size isn't everything. Clever diplomacy and a bit of land can make a big difference. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and share. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.